for Dr. Ward, but also some words for the presentation of Professor James Feuze. First of all, I want to compliment you on your excellent presentation, fantastic. Especially for the indirect support you gave to the basic principles of the VTM concept, which was presented 2 days ago. What you told covered it all. And you gave a question, you raised the question whether there is a role for Ayala in this. There is a very important role for Ayala in this, which already is more or less covered. On one hand in the working program 2010-2014 for further development of the VTM concept, but hand in hand with e-navigation committee, because we already stated that both the big concepts are supplementary and complementary to each other. So your bottom-up approach and top-down approach is the example how to do it. So thank you for that support. I have a question to Dr. Ward. In respect to the e-Lorraine case, your last point was how to go forward. There are some developments, we all know it at this stage, that, well, due to certain developments in the United States, the number of Lorraine stations, etc., are decreasing. How do you think that, your personal view, how do you think the further development and therefore the global coverage needed for a backup system can be established? Because we all recognized already the fact that a backup system, either for navigation or for timing, is a necessity in order to deal with the vulnerability of GNSS. What is your opinion on that? Thank you.
Obviously, I can't speak for the US on the what's happening there, but I wouldn't give up hope of e-Lorraine in North America. It's still a possibility. There are still discussions going on, I understand. We can try to influence the situation in Europe, obviously, and we are doing that quite actively to try and encourage those nations in Europe that have Lorraine stations to continue to operate them and develop them to provide e-Lorraine. And there is great interest in the Far East among the FIRMS countries, including Russia, which obviously has a much has coverage of Chika stations in the far north and Europe as well. All these countries are interested in continuing the development towards e-Lorraine, and the precise way of doing that is really to get initially some informal agreement, understanding between those countries, and then eventually work towards an international agreement. And as I say, this is something we are actively pursuing.
Another question here? Clark Davis, a question for Nick Ward. Do you have any idea of how many shipborne Lorraine systems are in operation that will actually be used with e-Lorraine? And perhaps in comparison with other transport modes might be interesting.
Well, very, very few. I mean, this is not a system that's in operation. Well, we have an operational system in the UK, but I mean, it's not a widespread operational system, so there are very few receivers out there. It's really a potential system, and as I indicated, the timeline for actually putting it into operation would be about 2013. However, there are receivers on the market, and there's a lot of interest in fully integrating Lorraine into the GNSS chips, which could make quite a difference, since the additional cost of providing the backup to the user would be minimal.
Anyone else?
Right here, Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is, I think that there is needed a terrestrial backup system for the GPS. This ILORAN, for GPS, the ILORAN should be management regional level, global level, because I think in national level the ILORAN is not available. I think. Thank you.
Yes, I would agree. It is at the moment managed on a regional basis, although some of the regions are larger than others. The Far East region is obviously extremely large. But because it's based on stations located within particular countries rather than satellites orbiting the Earth, it's more practical to manage it regionally, yes. And I expect that model would continue.
Any other questions? Peter again?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And one small question for Mr. Altman. I know it's very difficult to answer something on a presentation of someone else, but it struck me a bit that you talked about BENC. Is that an equivalent for the international more known SENC, entity ENC? That's one. And secondly, by your knowledge, is the ENC, so the data provided on that particular chart in the PPU, is that the same picture as used at your VTS centers? Because we have the feeling that it's very important for the interaction between the VTS and the pilots. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for your question. Well, the acronym BENC, I guess it's something we use at home, and it's denominated just to indicate that the ENC has been overlaid with bathymetric data. My knowledge base is not sufficient to explain the relationship with the ENC model you just mentioned. So maybe you put the question to Captain Seidel in this regard. The second question I can answer definitely. It is indeed the plan to incorporate the very same bathymetric data overlaid on the ENC in the VTS centers. Not only in this river, but everywhere else where we have estuaries and similar situations.
Another question?
Yes, I have a question concerning the e-maritime concept. As far as I know, it's a European concept. And there is a probability that other regions around the world will develop something similar, but not exactly the same in Europe. And shipping traffic goes from one continent to another. Will the e-maritime concept in Europe be open in protocols and interface to probably other systems around the world in the future? Thank you.
Dr. Frost?
In fact, I'm not in a position to officially speak for the European Commission, and the maritime concept is in its birthday, so it's just being developed. But the core concept is agreed. The core concept is that it bases on the shipping itself, but extends the whole system to the flow of cargo. So in that aspect, the ship is no longer an individual issue. It is the piece of steel around the cargo, and all the businesses around the cargo are the prioritized businesses in that field. So it should a much better connection be provided through the whole flow of transport, involving the related administrations, but also all the related commercial activities and so on.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to remind everyone that there's question forms out at the front table. If you still would like to pose a question to any of the presenters here or any of the previous presenters, you can use those forms to get those to the Secretariat, and they will get those answers published onto the web. I'd like to, first of all, thank everyone here for not asking me any E-Loran questions, so that was greatly appreciated. And two, I'd like to extend my warm thanks for all my presenters here for the great job they did this morning, and wish you all a good lunch. Thank you very much.